most compassionate, the most merciful, who is also the source of peace. In Arabic, he is called Ya Allah, Ya Salam. We invoke for his help, guidance, and assistance in ensuring we have a comprehensive peace agreement before the end of the month of April among the following states: Israel, Palestine, Iran, United States, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, United Arab Emirates, Yemen, Iraq, and Turkey. Because not having this agreement, comprehensive peace agreement with each member nation, guarantees the security and peace of its neighbor. We will not have Middle East security and the security of the movement of oil, gas, and other hydrocarbon products, and also other products which go through the Strait of Hormuz and through the Persian Gulf. Therefore, it is very important that a comprehensive peace agreement is agreed upon by all parties and underwritten by China, India, and Russia. United States will be a party because it is party to the ongoing Gulf War in the conflict, plus its NATO allies. We need to have peace in that region without incitement by external parties, in a respectful manner, because if we do not have this, we are headed for a depression within the next 6 weeks or less. And who is going to trigger that? It's going to be Japan. Very little has been said in this conflict about Japan. Yes, China's has been discussed, role has been discussed, and its benefits. India has been discussed. But India and China are also large industrial economies and consumers of hydrocarbons. However, they have a agreement to buy below market price oil and gas from Iran. Japan does not have that luxury. So, within the past few weeks, Japan's interest rates have gone higher and are comparable to US interest rates without the associated currency risks. So, for any Japanese who is invested in the US, it is better that the money is in Japan rather than in the US. Japan will trigger this Great Depression because it holds, because of its trading surpluses, 1 trillion United States dollars are invested in government securities, that is, bonds and treasuries of the US government. However, as this was the preferred mode of Japanese banks and life insurance companies and other Japanese players, industrial players, to invest with investable surpluses, to invest in US markets, as it was stable, strong, and a great trading partner. However, as the rates in Japan were near zero and in dollarized terms below zero, so now they're able to get the rates because of the spike in cost of living. Inflation goes higher, interest rates have to go higher, and exchange rate was also affected in of the yen, the international effect of Fisher's equation. This is pure economics. It has nothing to do with sentiments. And also behavioral economics. If my investments are threatened somewhere, I better bring them home to be safe. So that is why it is behavioral economics, behavioral finance. It is rational for Japanese to move their money invested in US government securities to buying Japanese bonds and treasuries, and also invest in the Japanese stock exchange. This has also been stagnant for years. Japan has a very good habit which became its liability of theft of high savings coming from the Second World War, where they had the money was worthless. After the dropping of the atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki and the Japanese surrender, Imperial Japan was in tatters. But it was that spirit of thrift and savings which has been there before the First World War, Second World War also. It is a normal Japanese habit, behavior. It is ingrained in the DNA, in the culture. So they must such high savings that it was better to ask them to spend their money on consumable goods and services by giving them negative interest rates also. But they still kept on saving. But however, now they are giving them positive rates. Positive rates have happened because of the inflationary pressures of the high oil prices, because Japan does not have its own oil, it has to import its oil at the high prices currently in place, and it has no sweet deals with Iran or Russia, as it is supposed to be a firm US ally. So Japanese money is going to come to pulled out, the plug is going to be taken out. However, this triggers other players, major people who are investors in Japan, in US securities, US government securities, treasuries and bonds, which are China, India, who also have large trading surpluses with the United States. China also has over $1 trillion US dollar in US government securities. India has over 500 billion US dollars, and the Gulf Arab countries and the sovereign wealth funds, who also are invested heavily in US equities also, and they have made a collective decision after what is happening in the region, the Middle East, the Persian Gulf, the Arabian Gulf. The Arabian Sea is their lake, is the playground, and they've created so much uncertainty leading to capital flight Like Dubai's economy was based on investors, people who have invested in tourism, in apartments and whatnot. But you cannot go to visit Dubai for tourism today due to the uncertainty related to the ongoing war. Anytime a plane could or a missile could land, why do you risk your life to go to Dubai or invest in Dubai? It may also lead to another property crash in the Gulf, mainly targeting at the UAE and Qatar. It's going to be a really tough situation for them, who have also declared that the foreign wealth funds are going to remove the money invested in the United States. So the Gulf players will also be out. And another development of this conflict is more and more buyer seller oil is being sold in yuan or in Indian rupees, which means bypassing the Federal Reserve and the US dollars. And these countries also will not have surplus dollars to invest. So it is going to bypass the US. The US dollar is not going to be propped up by this oil money being traded in US dollars, which is going to be catastrophic. So a Great Depression is on the way in the United States. And with approaching midterm elections, is going to be a very tough balancing act. So a comprehensive peace agreement sponsored by US President Trump is the best option to avoid the depression, which is going to create hardship not to the political class and the rich friends, but to the common man in the United States. We need to avoid that. Let that sense be seen. Let it come out. And a comprehensive peace agreement is signed involving all the parties and owned by the parties who are there. The US can be, and NATO can also be, together with President Trump, can sponsor that comprehensive peace agreement. And each of the member states guarantees each other's security. So there will be no rogue behavior by a single Lone Ranger player. So we involve all the countries, including Yemen, Palestine. Palestine and Israel should be merged, in my opinion, into a one state, giving the right of return to all Palestinians who have left Palestine since 1948. And they can live together as brothers together with the Jewish fraternity living in Israel. I don't think they have a problem with each other. It was only the politics which was creating the problem. Jerusalem can be the Brussels of this regional bloc, and we can have an economic bloc which ensures prosperity through economic, technical and industrial development of the region, through free movement of people, capital, both physical and financial, and goods and services across the region, harnessing each other's strengths and mitigating each other's weaknesses. So there will be really, in real sense, no reason anyone to feel left out or to allow for rogue ideas, dangerous ideas to be incited by preachers, whether on sectarian basis, religious basis, or political basis, the ideologues, and we can have a peaceful and prosperous future of the Middle East region, and the United States President Donald Trump would go down as the greatest President of the United States if he manages to pull this one. Yes, there might be some eating of humble pie for everyone, including for Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel, including the Iranian leadership, Mustafa Khamenei. Yes, we sympathize with him that the US Israeli struck his father dead, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. But he also has to understand that the peace of more than 250 million people is at stake. Turkey also has to be part of this economic union. European Union is not really, it has stood outside to try to join the European Union for so long and they have not accepted him. So it is best that Turkey join this union, and Iran and Israel, give the technological age. The financial capital would come from the Gulf Arab states, the oil rich ones, and the people would be provided by the consumers provided by countries like Yemen, Saudi Arabia also has a good population, Iran and Iraq and even Turkey. So all have a shared vision of a prosperous future. We ask Allah, the Lord of Majesty and Bounty, to bless the region with peace, as Ya Allah Ya Salam, and also with prosperity, as Dhul Jalali wal Ikram, the Lord of Majesty and Bounty. This would be a victory for everyone, and everyone can show it to their constituencies and to the gallery, to the people, that they have got a winning solution. Ameen. Ya Rabbil Alameen.